Chicago Bears general manager Ryan Poles just spoke to the media at his press conference at the Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. You're watching Bears Now by Chat Sports. I'm Harrison Graham. I've got 5 takeaways from Poles' presser this morning, so let's go ahead and jump on in here. Number 1, Poles really reaffirmed the plan for the Bears is for Justin Fields to be QB1 here in 2023. Says the plan is for Fields to be this team's starting quarterback this season. That is what he said after the regular season. If you remember, he said he'd, quote, have to be blown away by one of these draft quarterbacks to go ahead and draft one. Now, we'll get to kind of part 2 of this quarterback discussion here in a second, but I think it's notable for Poles to kind of go out of his way and say, yeah, the plan is for Justin to be the guy. That hasn't changed. And that message has been really consistent since the end of the season. This is the second time we've heard him talk publicly in a press conference kind of situation, and he has said the same thing twice now. So Justin Fields, by all accounts, will be this team's quarterback. He did acknowledge things can change, and look, he'd be foolish as a GM to not always leave at least the door slightly open for any scenario for a team that just won 3 games. But I expect Fields to be the quarterback. Poles says the plan is for Fields to be the quarterback. If something changes, he said they would let Justin know, but that is not where they're at right now. They expect Fields to return and be this team's starter. So show Justin Fields some love. Show QB1 some love. That's my quarterback. Shout out Terrell Owens. Type JF1 in the comments down below. He is this team's quarterback. If he's your quarterback, type JF1 to go ahead and show Justin Fields some love. All right, let's get to our second storyline here on Chicago Bears Now, and that kind of ties into the first story. Ryan Poles did acknowledge, hey, we're still going to do homework on this year's QB class. And I told you guys this months ago. Of course they're going to evaluate the quarterbacks here. This is the first year Ryan Poles has had a first-round pick. He's got the number 1 pick. This is to be expected. He would not be doing his job as GM if he didn't evaluate the top 4 quarterbacks of Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and Will Levis. For a couple reasons. One, you should meet with the quarterbacks pretty much every year, unless you have, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and these guys who are obviously, 10-plus year franchise starters. And number 2, I think you need to at least still give that aura that you're willing to potentially draft a quarterback to help raise that price tag of the number 1 pick. So they're going to do their homework. I expect them to meet with the top 4 guys and also some later draft guys, because I think drafting a quarterback on day 3 as a potential backup option could make some sense. A Stetson Bennett, a Max Duggan, Jake Haener, someone like that, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. But the Bears will do their due diligence, and again, unless they're blown away, they're going to keep Justin Fields and trade the number 1 pick, which we'll get to that part of the discussion here in just a moment. But subscribe and join us. We normally go live at 3 o'clock Central on Tuesdays. That's still the plan right now, to go live later. We thought about going live and carrying the press conferences, but Poles went earlier than I thought he was going to, so just decided to get you guys a quick reaction video here this morning, and then we'll go live later today. Matt Eberflus talking with the media here in a little bit. We'll see what he has to say, react to that, plus get you caught up on the latest Bears news and rumors. So subscribe, turn on your notifications. It's a big week at the NFL Combine. We're going to have you covered with all the storylines coming out of Indianapolis. Number 3 takeaway from Ryan Poles' press conference: the Bears could trade the number 1 pick before free agency. That came directly from Poles' mouth, and this might be the most notable takeaway I have from this presser, because I think we kind of have all known Justin Fields is going to be the guy, and it makes sense for them to evaluate quarterbacks just to do their homework. But for him to say, yeah, a trade before free agency could happen is pretty significant. Ryan Poles said there are some scenarios, quotes, where they could trade the number 1 pick before March 15th, which is the start of free agency. And he said one of those trade scenarios would include players in the trade. Now, he didn't say players coming in, players going out. I would assume player or players coming in. This kind of feels to me like confirmation of trade offers. Like, sure, he could play a scenario in his head, like if we make this offer, we could get said player, but kind of feels like there's already an offer out there that features a player or 2, which I find to be very significant. I do think the Bears have received offers. That was reported on Monday by Adam Schefter, and I think last week a couple of reports came out that offers had come in, so that is pretty interesting. More on this idea of trading before free agency in a moment, but I do want to get to today's sponsor, and that is Fume. Tryfume.com/chatsports to get started with Fume today. And listen, we all have bad habits, and we certainly know how hard they can to kick those bad habits. Our sponsor, Fume, is on a mission to accelerate humanity's breakup from the bad habits that consume far too many of us. Fume is a natural diffusive device that uses plants and behavioral science to help you trade out your negative habit for a positive one. I didn't expect much out of Fume when I got it, but the minty sensation is really powerful and really hits the back of the throat. What I like about Fume as well is they got a couple of really good flavors here. The maple pepper, the crisp mint, and the white cranberry, all flavors are excellent. Producer Chugs, he's a huge fan of the white cranberry there. That's his favorite flavor, at least what he's told me before filming this show. Fume is not a vape. It's a non-electronic device designated to transform your negative habits. The easiest way to stop a bad habit is to switch to a positive one. And Fume is designed perfectly to do just that. So head to tryfume.com/chatsports and use code chatsports to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com/chatsports. Use code chatsports to save an additional 10% off. Link is in the comments and in the description of this video. So let's explore more these kind of trade scenarios that Ryan Poles is working through, especially the ones that could include players. I think three teams stand out to me as teams that could have a player or players in it. The Indianapolis Colts, DeForest Buckner, Quentin Nelson, Michael Pittman Jr., all players at positions of need for Chicago. Carolina, Brian Burns, DJ Moore at wide receiver. Those are a couple of players I'm interested in. Tennessee Titans, Jeffery Simmons at defensive tackle. Kind of knock out the 3-tech spot there, move down all the way to 11 in that scenario, but you kind of fill that defensive tackle role, probably get a bunch of picks as well. Those are three teams that stand out to me for teams that could include a trade, so it'll be fascinating to see if the Bears do make a trade before free agency, which could give them a clearer picture of free agency as well. Which team will trade up with the Bears? If you had to predict, who do you think that team is going to be? Is it going to be the Texans at 2, the Colts at 4, Carolina, the Raiders, Falcons, Titans, Commanders? A lot of quarterback-needy teams out there. Bucks at 19. Hey, listen, they're going to have to trade the farm to do that, but they do need a quarterback. Let us know in the comments which team you think will trade up with Chicago. Takeaway number 4, Ryan Poles, who mentioned this at his end-of-season presser, but again today, he still wants David Montgomery back. He wants to re-sign the veteran running back who has run out of his rookie contract. Monty in his career, almost 5,000 all-purpose yards, 30 total touchdowns. He's been a warrior for this team. He's suffered some minor injuries, but I still think there's plenty in the tank there. And I've kind of said this for a couple months now. I think if you can get David Montgomery back, $6 to $7 million on a 1 or 2 year deal, that is something that makes sense. I think it's fair market for Monty. You think of the top market guys, Saquon, Josh Jacobs. He's kind of in that tier 2. If he gets 8, 9, 10 plus million, good luck. Best of luck to him on a future endeavors with a different team. But if you can get him in that $6-7 million range, you got $100 million in cap space. I think that's worthwhile. He brings a lot to this team on the field. Off the field is a leader. I think he's a guy that this team would benefit from keeping around at least for another year or two. So I would like to see that happen. And the fact that he's mentioned it multiple times now makes me think that bringing back Monty is something they're really going to try to do. He said that he's going to meet with their camp sometime soon. All right, and number 5, Ryan Poles understands the significance of this offseason. He's not a dumb guy. This is what he had to say specifically. Quote, "I know our entire organization is pumped with the opportunity that we have to do something special. And this team has a chance to do something special starting this offseason because this team owns the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, $100 million in cap space, which is the most of any team in the NFL by over $30 million. This is the biggest offseason in franchise history. I know I keep saying that, but that's reality. You've got a quarterback that's very talented in Justin Fields. You own the number 1 pick. You've got $100 million in cap space. This is it. Like, if this team is going to win a Super Bowl in the next half decade, it starts this offseason. That's reality. So there's no room for error. You've got to hit in free agency. You've got to do the right thing with this number 1 pick, whether it's trading down or drafting a franchise-altering player. Like, you've got to make this work. And Ryan Poles knows that. He's not shying away from that. He fully understands what's at stake this offseason, and you can feel the energy when he talks. Like, he even said he's having trouble sleeping just going through these potential scenarios of what could happen this offseason with trading the number 1 pick, free agency, etc. So he is all in on trying to bring the Bears back to where they belong. Do you trust Ryan Poles to deliver this offseason? Type T for trust or D for don't. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll be reading them as I'm gearing up for our live show as well. 4 o'clock Eastern every Tuesday. We're still going to go live tonight, so subscribe and join us for that. Bears Now Live is not going anywhere. We will see you guys in a few hours for that, so be ready to go. Turn on your notifications and bear down.